What it do, Dream Team? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with Australia shocks China by revealing new secret weapon. What y'all got over there, Australia? Before we dive into this, if you happen to enjoy the video, please don't forget to subscribe or hit that like button. And if you have a video request of your own, you can drop it in the comment section or subscribe to Patreon and request it there. Or in the description section, there's a link where I take premium as well as free requests. Premium and Patreon requests will be prioritized.
In a world where threats lurk in the concealed depths of the Pacific Ocean, where the balance of power might be determined beneath the waves, where naval supremacy is a silent yet decisive force, one unexpected nation has risen to safeguard the underwater realm. Introducing Ghost Shark. Once you learn about the capabilities of this Australian technological marvel, you'll understand why Ghost Shark, the cutting-edge unmanned underwater vehicle, or UUV, being developed down under, warrants such an introduction. Everything about Ghost Shark is like something straight out of a superhero movie where the battleground has shifted underwater. In our very much real superhero movie, Australia is the nation that stepped up as the Pacific waters get more and more dangerous with every passing day. China, unsurprisingly, is the primary reason for these dangers. Our villain, if you will. The country has been ramping up the production of sophisticated UUVs equipped with state-of-the-art sensors and carrying lethal ordnance, all in an effort to assert dominance over critical maritime territories and establish naval supremacy in the region. Ghost Shark, with the stealth of a shadow and the power of a titan, is Australia's response to the growing threat. In a few years, this unmanned guardian, whose full capabilities are still shrouded in mystery, yet seem to defy imagination, is expected to set off on the task of turning the tide in the Pacific. China didn't see this threat.
I'm excited to hear all about what this Ghost Shark UUV can do. I'm very fascinated at the intro of this Ghost Shark.
To its naval supremacy coming. And as you can imagine, the country isn't too thrilled about Ghost Shark. With this in mind, let's dive into the capabilities of this impressive uncrewed submarine that has shocked and likely scared the maritime powerhouse of China. Right off the bat, we might disappoint you slightly. We don't know many of Ghost Shark's specifications. In fact, almost no one does. As with any truly remarkable piece of military technology, the exact specs are classified. Unfortunately for us, they're only shared on a need-to-know basis. But don't worry, there's still more than enough information to paint quite a vivid picture of just how formidable Ghost Shark is shaping up to be. Ghost Shark, or at least its first prototype named Alpha, was officially unveiled on April 18, 2024, during a highly publicized press conference spearheaded by Pat Conroy, the Australian Minister for Defence Industry. The press conference was also attended by representatives of all the major players in the development of Ghost Shark. Anduril Industries, the Advanced Strategic Capabilities Accelerator, ASCA, the Defence Science and Technology Group, DSTG, and the Royal Australian Navy, or RAN. Let's start our story about Ghost Shark's naval might by discussing who's who in its design, production, and deployment, as this will give you a better understanding of the expertise involved in the project. It will also give you a sneak peek into Ghost Shark's capabilities, as this UUV isn't the first to be developed by some of these leading organizations and programs. First up, Anduril Industries, the contractor that'll actually design and manufacture Ghost Shark in Sydney Harbor. Anduril is a U.S. defense technology giant specializing in producing advanced autonomous systems. It's a relatively new company, as it was started in 2017, but it already has several impressive products and military programs to its name. For instance, Anduril was selected by the U.S. Army to develop and manufacture the Titan Ground Station System, aka Tactical Intelligence Targeting Across Node, which will provide next-generation data fusion and deep sensing capabilities via artificial intelligence. However, for the purpose of this video, Anduril's most fascinating product, besides the Ghost Shark of course, is the Dive LD, an autonomous underwater vehicle, AUV, designed for underwater intelligence, surveillance, target acquisition, and reconnaissance. While originally developed by a Boston-based startup acquired by Anduril, Dive Technologies, an iteration of Dive LD will also be manufactured in Australia. This agreement also meant that Anduril will expand to Australia, which officially happened on July 3, 2022. Though the company's headquarters is in Sydney, Anduril Australia will create engineering, science, technology, and manufacturing jobs across the entire country, growing the Australian industrial network. The development of Ghost Shark has already shown this commitment in practice. According to Dr. Shane Arnott, chief engineer at Anduril Industries, as many as 42 Australian companies will be involved in the design, engineering, and production of Ghost Shark. The team working on the project consists of 121 people from tech, resources, and defense sectors, described as the best of Australia. But let's go back to Anduril's Drive LD for a second. Why is this AUV important for understanding Ghost Shark? It's simple, really. Dive LD can be seen as a predecessor to Ghost Shark in many regards, and since several crucial specs of Dive LD are known, it'll help us get a better picture of what Ghost Shark looks like and how it performs, but more on that later. For now, let's introduce the next key player in the development of Ghost Shark, which will serve as Mission Zero for the player in question, the Advanced Strategic Capabilities Accelerator. The HSCA is a relatively newly formed Australian agency whose goal is to give a much-needed boost to the Australian defence. The agency focuses on accelerating the delivery of relevant capabilities to the Australian Defence Force, ADF, thus keeping national security up to date at all times. The ASCA is a major factor in why Ghost Shark is being manufactured ahead of schedule, a rare feat for such a complex military project. Speaking of the military, the Royal Australian Navy is another crucial player in the Ghost Shark saga. As you can probably conclude, RAN is the naval force of the Australian Defence Force, with Vice Admiral Mark Hammond as the Chief of the Navy. When discussing Ghost Shark, Admiral Hammond said the following: "This collaboration combines Navy's expertise, ASCA's speed to delivery, Defence's scientific smarts, and Anduril Australia's experience in agile innovation." This quote also leads us to the final participant of this historic collaboration, the Defense Science and Technology Group. As Admiral Hammond points out, the DSTG is all about the science. We're talking about Australia's leading governmental agency responsible for bringing together interdisciplinary expertise, technology, and science from across Australia with a single goal: to address and overcome national security challenges. So there you have it.
Australia. So you absolutely have 4 huge players in Australia all coming together to create this big time. You got the brains, you got the delivery, you got the guys who actually, Royal Australian Navy, who are actually out there fighting. I guess I would say you got the experience, and with and you also have experience with I can't remember the name of their company, Audible or something along those lines. I'm so sorry. My short-term memory is absolutely awful. But it seems like you have all the key players you need in order to absolutely make something incredible.
Australia's military and tech Avengers assembled to protect the country's and, let's face it, the world's maritime peace. Now, let's see what these organizations have been able to achieve after putting their brilliant minds together and finally explore the capabilities and specs of Ghost Shark. First things first, the terminology. There have been several terms used to describe Ghost Shark and similar inventions in this video. Unmanned underwater vehicle, uncrewed submarine, autonomous underwater vehicle. So which one is it? Unmanned underwater vehicle is a general name for the category of submersible vehicles that can operate underwater without a human occupant. These vehicles are also referred to as uncrewed underwater vehicles, or colloquially uncrewed submarines. They're even called underwater drones, though a massive construction resembling a submarine typically isn't the first thing people picture when they hear the word drone. As for the autonomous underwater vehicle, it's just a subcategory of the unmanned underwater vehicles. These vehicles are completely automated, which means that they can operate without any direct human input. The other subcategory, the remotely operated underwater vehicles, or ROUVs for short, don't need a human passenger, but they do need a human operator to remotely control them. Ghost Shark falls under the first category, the AUVs. This modular multi-purpose capability integrates both autonomous systems and artificial intelligence, which allow it to operate in high-risk areas with limited connectivity. In other words, there's no need to worry about losing communication with Ghost Shark, which can easily happen with ROUVs, as this vehicle is designed to operate independently for a long period of time and conduct long-range missions without human intervention. But what are these missions we're talking about?
Just the progressiveness of technology is just absolutely mind-blowing, and it's so fascinating. Like, this thing is using AI, is built to go on these missions without the need for humans controlling it or humans playing any part besides designing it, of course. It's good. That's wild.
Though most of Ghost Shark's capabilities are speculative, one thing is for sure, the vehicle was designed to satisfy all the naval needs of the Australian Defence Force. As Professor Emily Hilder, the head of the ASCA, puts it, Ghost Shark is a fast and innovative way for the defense to pursue new technology that directly relates to capability needs. The first of these needs was unparalleled stealth. Ghost Shark was designed with state-of-the-art stealth technology in mind. The most obvious shifts to more covert operations expected from Ghost Shark can be seen in its color. The entire vehicle is dark, a combination of black and gray. In contrast, the Dive LD was painted in a bright color somewhere between red and orange. Though there is a scientific explanation for this color choice, which allows submarines to blend in deep underwater, there's a huge problem with it. The vehicle must first reach those deep waters. Being painted in a less conspicuous color will allow Ghost Shark to reduce visibility from both air and surface, allowing it to perform a wide range of missions undercover. These missions primarily include persistent intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. This means that Ghost Shark is equipped to explore and patrol the ocean and gather any intelligence necessary for strategic decision-making. This proactive intelligence gathering is a specialized naval task known as SIGINT, or Signals Intelligence Operations, in which communications from people or electronic devices are purposefully intercepted and later decrypted. But Ghost Shark won't be able to just spot threats with its advanced sensory equipment, it will also be able to engage them. That's right, it's said that Ghost Shark will also be able to carry torpedoes and conduct offensive strike operations when necessary. Talk about a multi-purpose vehicle. But believe it or not, these are not all the unique purposes this technological marvel will allegedly have. Supposedly, Ghost Shark will also be able to serve as a mothership for all the other smaller uncrewed underwater vessels in the Pacific Ocean, allowing Australia to successfully employ integrated naval warfare while minimizing the risk to human crews. And that's precisely what this is all about, protecting human lives while still being able to perform these crucial operations.
Yeah, I've said it multiple times, and I think anybody knows, like, with the way of the world, I mean, it's a war on technology. It's a technological war now. Whereas manpower, fighting wars on land, right, guns in soldiers' hands, all of that still happens, of course. But more and more so, it's where you're able to fight without even putting men in harm's way. You're able to create these things. And you don't have to put men in the submarine and put any men in harm's way. Either they're autonomous or you can control them from so far away. So it's just truly fascinating what's going on in the world.
Of course, due to the absence of a crew, Ghost Shark will be able to perform far riskier missions that would be impractical or entirely impossible for a crewed vehicle. Ghost Shark can last longer, operate at greater depths, and cover greater distances, making it a valuable asset for missions in more challenging or hostile environments. And currently, the situation in the Indo-Pacific is nothing if not hostile. For instance, there are strong indications that a proliferation of sea mines in the region is coming, which will pose a massive challenge to surrounding countries. Why? Because sea mines can easily engage high-value targets, while at the same time posing minimal risk for enemy forces. Also, for how affordable they are, the mines offer an unparalleled opportunity to wreak havoc underwater with continuous asymmetric warfare. That's why the naval strategists are urged to prepare for the large-scale resurgence of these powerful tools. And that's why it's great news that Ghost Shark is also rumored to be able to conduct mine countermeasures without direct human oversight. All things considered, it's obvious that Ghost Shark represents a significant leap in Australia's capability to secure the increasingly contested waters of the Pacific Ocean, as there's virtually no operation this UUV won't be able to perform. But enough about Ghost Shark's operational scope. What about its design? Unfortunately, not many details have been shared with the public. From the alpha prototype alone, we know the color, as previously discussed, and that the Ghost Shark features a streamlined, swept-back sail. What's also evident from looking at the first prototype is that Ghost Shark is smaller than a conventional submarine, but slightly larger than Dive LD. For comparison, Dive LD is about 19 feet long, weighs 2.8 tons, and can conduct autonomous missions at staggering depths of approximately 3.7 miles for as long as 10 days. What allows both Ghost Shark and Dive LD to be smaller than traditional submarines is the absence of the crew. This means designers don't have to leave any room for pressure-proof hulls, life support equipment, or the intricate sound-deadening equipment needed to reduce the noise of the submarine's movements. All Ghost Shark needs are watertight modules to hold the necessary machinery and electronics, so Ghost Shark and other UUVs outperform conventional submarines in strategic applications that the contemporary maritime security environment calls for. Best of all, even with all their capabilities, UUVs are less costly to build and maintain than traditional submarines. But how much does a Ghost Shark cost? The entire co-development contract between Anduril, RAN, and DSTG to design and develop 3 Ghost Shark UUVs is worth 140 million Australian dollars, which is equivalent to about 93 million US. The cost is split evenly between Anduril and the Next Generation Technologies Fund, NGTF, administered by the DSTG. If you crunch the numbers, you'll quickly realize that saying that Ghost Sharks can be developed at a fraction of the cost of traditional submarines might be the understatement of the century. For comparison's sake, one Ohio-class nuclear-powered submarine cost about $4.5 billion to make. A Columbia-class ballistic missile submarine, poised to replace the previously mentioned model, comes with an even more shocking cost, $9.5 billion per unit. That's more than the entire amount of money Australia's government intends to invest in subsea warfare and autonomous maritime vehicles. The government's budget for these vehicles is between $5.2 and $7.2 billion, an amount that'll also cover the development of Ghost Sharks. Though
$9.5 billion is insanity. And that's America spending that. It doesn't surprise me because we spend an F ton on defense. But my God.
Low when compared to the US's ambitions, the budget is a huge deal for Australia. Plus the fact that as much as 72% of the total budget aimed at autonomous and uncrewed systems will go toward naval capabilities speaks volumes about the importance of these systems and the urgency of the situation in the Indo-Pacific. What's also a huge deal is that the Ghost Shark program has stayed on budget so far, another extremely rare feat for large-scale military projects. Take the Orca XL UUV program, spearheaded by Boeing and the US Navy as an example. In late 2022, the Government Accountability Office reported that the project was a staggering $242 million over budget. To make matters worse, it was also 3 years behind schedule. Ghost Shark hasn't had either of these problems. As already mentioned, this highly expected program is even ahead of schedule. So let's talk about the deployment timeline. The contract to develop Ghost Sharks, initially labeled only as Extra-Large Autonomous Undersea Vehicles (XL AUVs), was signed in May 2022. The contract stipulated that Anduril would produce 3 prototype autonomous submarines over 3 years. This means that the design suitable for deployment should be ready by mid-2025. Given that the first prototype was unveiled on April 18, 2024, Ghost Shark has gone from idea to testing in a little over 2 years, which is pretty unheard of according to Anduril's chief engineer. Australia's chief defense scientist Tanya Munro agreed with this statement, adding that delivering the first Ghost Shark prototype ahead of schedule sets a new standard for capability development at the speed of need. Moving at the speed of need, or speed of relevance, as Anduril representatives
call it, necessity is the mother of all creation. Great quote I've heard.
Is beyond important, given the rapidly evolving security landscape and the increasing maritime threats in the Indo-Pacific region. After the initial Ghost Sharks join the Australian naval fleet, these UUVs will be manufactured at scale. This means that Ghost Sharks will also be made available for export to Australia's allies and partners around the world. Speaking of allies, we should mention another major player that stands to gain from the development of Ghost Shark, the AUKUS. The AUKUS stands for Australia, the UK, and the US, and represents a security partnership between the 3 countries aimed at maintaining peace in the Indo-Pacific region. Coincidentally, Anduril also has headquarters and offices throughout the US and the UK, making these 3 countries connected in more ways than one. The plan for Ghost Shark is to be able to work with allied vessels under the AUKUS Treaty in order to form a cohesive defense network in the Indo-Pacific region. The outcome of the Ghost Shark program will also allow the RAN to explore the potential for further collaboration through AUKUS Advanced Capabilities, the second pillar of the AUKUS Treaty. Even though the US and the UK are also working on developing UUV capabilities, all eyes are on Australia for the simple reason of its geographic position. Though this country's defense sector has long been regarded as trailing in technological advancements, Ghost Shark will undoubtedly change this. However, Australia isn't ramping up its defense capabilities and producing Ghost Shark just for the sake of it. There are several reasons why this has become a priority for Australia, some of which we've already hinted at throughout the video. Let's start with the most obvious one. Ghost shark is Australia's direct response to the ever-evolving threats in the Indo-Pacific. You've got your saber-rattling by China, missile testing by North Korea, and territorial disputes involving multiple nations. Though each of these should be taken seriously, China is undoubtedly the #1 threat to look out for. Why? What precisely is China doing? Well, it might be better to ask what isn't China doing. We'd be here for a shorter time. Here's just a quick overview of all the Chinese activities that have other nations ringing the alarm.
Oh yeah, China got the world feeling threatened. Everybody got their eye on China. America, India, Australia. Everybody looking over at China. What y'all up to? We don't trust you.
Without a doubt, #1 is China's advancements in the UUV department. After all, these vehicles can be used to carry out virtually any threatening activity in the Indo-Pacific region. According to many experts, China has already made groundbreaking technological innovations to its naval capabilities. This became abundantly clear in February 2023 when China revealed its heavily armed extra-large uncrewed submarine at Navdex in Abu Dhabi. China has been more forthcoming with the specs of its XL UUV, probably as another way to intimidate any adversaries. That's how we know that this XL UUV is armed with 4 torpedoes and equipped with intelligence-gathering features like a flank array sonar. But the XL UUV revealed at the 2023 Navdex is far from the only one China's working on. According to some open-source intelligence, there are at least 6 of these vehicles under development. Another one of these designs was revealed by China's defense exports company Poly Technology at the 2024 DSA in Malaysia. These XL UUVs, described as the UUV 300 family, are about 40 feet long and 6.5 feet wide and can carry up to 4 torpedoes and mines. But why does China need these XL UUVs? For one, the country wants to strengthen its presence in the South China Sea and the wider region, going about this goal quite aggressively. Of course, the bulk of China's actions in this region is focused on Taiwan, with the aim of asserting its dominance and intimidating the island nation. To achieve this goal, China is frequently deploying military forces into Taiwanese waters and airspace. It also has heavily militarized the South China Sea by building artificial islands with missile batteries and surveillance radars. However,
what you mean building artificial islands, huh? How you do that?
China's aggressive stance in this regard isn't the biggest issue. The biggest issue is how that stance might escalate. Ever since Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, there have been heightened worries that China might follow a similar path and attempt to forcibly annex Taiwan. Although the Taiwan issue is by far the most alarming, China has had its fair share of conflicts with other nations in the region. Take the Philippines as an example. The country has had numerous run-ins with the Chinese naval fleet over several disputed territories in the South China Sea. In March 2021 alone, China deployed over 200 vessels to the Philippines' Exclusive Economic Zone, or EEZ, to intimidate the country's president over his support for the 2016 Hague ruling that rejected the 9-dash line. Though all of these tensions won't necessarily lead to an armed conflict, there must be a concentrated effort to ensure regional stability. Australia's Ghost Shark will help do just that. It will give the RAN the necessary asymmetric capabilities to deter potential adversaries and protect Australia's interest in the Indo-Pacific region. Australia's interest is another important reason why the country is developing Ghost Shark. You see, Australia has, for the most part, imported its naval equipment in the past. With the Ghost Shark project, there's a strong emphasis on domestic production, which will immensely benefit Australia's defense industry. This new development is also part of a more general push to integrate autonomous technologies into Australia's defense, and the RAN in particular. But when developing these new technologies, the country's goal wasn't to match capabilities of its peers, but to surpass them. And that's what Ghost Shark is shaping up to do. However, it doesn't seem that this UUV will operate entirely solo, well, at least in the beginning. There have been some reports that the RAN purchased an auxiliary ship named Australian Defence Vessel Guidance, or ADV, to support the Ghost Shark trials. The ship, purchased in April 2023, is roughly 350 feet long and 72 feet wide, and has a displacement of approximately 7,400 tons. This purchase shouldn't be surprising to anyone keeping up with the Australian military decision, as the government has shown quite a proclivity for purchasing offshore support vessels. The government seems to see them as an affordable yet robust vessel that can seemingly do it all. It seems that they have that in common with the Ghost Shark. But now we ask you, what do you think about the Ghost Shark project? Will this UUV be able to help maintain balance and deter aggression in the region? Or do you believe that China is hiding even more advanced systems that'll put the Ghost Shark to shame? Share your opinions in the comment section below. Now go check out Japan Shocks China.
think the Ghost Shark is absolutely incredible invention by Australia. I love the fact that they focused on making it in Australia, not getting it exported from any other countries, and it seems like they're definitely on the path to gaining, I guess, not sea supremacy, but being able to defend themselves if anything were to happen. The Ghost Shark sounds incredibly amazing. And I'm not, China's got XL UUVs, and I'm not too sure about these UUV races and what's going on, but this video just made it sound absolutely awesome to me. But that's all we got. Please let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Also, don't forget to check out this video next. Subscribe to the channel, give the video a like. See you on the next one.